What's going on, guys? It's Matt Marinoff, Real Estate Recovery Group, and my co-host today is Jennifer Romero, and Jennifer is a real estate agent, and today we're going to be covering a couple of topics. We're going to be covering being a mom. We're going to be talking about being a real estate agent in today's market. We're going to be talking about mental health and obviously what's going on with COVID-19, and it looks like she's drinking a Long Island iced tea, so she's cooking really well. Well, it is after 12, so just saying.
It's an Arnold Palmer. There is no alcohol in it.
Okay.
Later.
Jennifer. Wait, what do we got? Hold on.
Well. I can't with you.
Put your hands up. Now say, you guys said I was going to do a live and I don't have any music and any dancing. I
love it.
You got Jen Romero on. Hey, sidebar, some people don't even know about it. Jen Romero, and I don't know if she actually publicizes it or not, but if you guys ever hear me say I'm calling her a CJ, I call her CJ because Jennifer is a Cuban Jew.
It's true. Hi, Mom.
She's a Cuban Jew.
Yeah.
That's probably why we get along so well, because she's part of, half, that's it. She's half Jew. Anyway, so we got Jen on today. And Jen, let's dive deep a little bit into how you got into real estate, why you got into real estate, and then we'll talk about, being a mom and everything else.
Sure. So, of course, I was like everyone else. I loved watching HGTV. I was always kind of interested in real estate. Never thought that I would actually be in it in any capacity, but I enjoyed it. Look forward to certain HGTV shows. At the time, I was in the medical field. So I was working at a surgery center. I worked in the OR, and I just got very upset with the way that things were going as far as procedures went, not the actual surgeries, but the rules of the surgery center and the laws that were changing regarding healthcare. So I decided that I wanted to step away from that industry. It just didn't align with my morals and with my values. And I always wanted to treat patients across the board like I would treat my own mother or my father or my son. And it wasn't happening that way, in part due to a little bit of finances. And the other part was there was just a lot of confusion in the healthcare industry at that point in time with the Obamacare insurance reimbursements rolling out and everything like that. So I decided to leave healthcare. And I'm sitting home and I said to Greg, kind of want to do real estate, little interested. He is like, babe, do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you smile, like go for it. Who cares? What have you got to lose? I said, okay, sure, why not? Went to real estate school, started realizing it was a heck of about more than selling a beautiful house or, this glamorous lifestyle. It was more about doing the right thing by people and helping them through certain situations, and that not every single sale was, a happy ending. There was a lot of them that you are truly putting yourself in a position where you can be someone's savior. You can be someone's go-to person to help them through a really difficult situation in their lives and transition into another phase of their lives. Shortly after I finished real estate school, I did a couple of transactions, rentals and single-family home sales. And it was through this beautiful technology called Zillow, if I'm not mistaken, that I discovered that you can have a Nextel bleep bleep on your phone. Posted it on Facebook. You and Michelina were like, oh my gosh, Nextel bleep bleep. And then that's how you and I kind of became friends. And that's how we started talking and saying, hey, what do you do? Hey, what do you do? Oh my gosh, I like you. Hey, I like you too. You want to be friends? Let's be friends. Let's do this together. So here we are, 3 years later, 4 years later.
I don't even know. 2017, so 3 years.
Yeah.
But that's a perfect example right there. That was social media at its best.
It really was, because we never even spoke a word to each other before that.
No.
We followed each other, but we were never like, hey, what's up? How you doing, friend?
Right. Which is good because, you have a common ground. And that's why, like, I'm doing the 12 o'clock show every day, because I want people to network with other people. I want them to get to know other people. People are always like, Matt, are you worried about competition? No, I'm not worried about competition.
There's more than enough business to go around for everyone, honestly.
There is more than enough business to go around. Unfortunately, there's not enough real estate agents that care enough. There's one thing that you talk about, I talk about, people before profit.
100%.
You always talk about, which you say you didn't make up, but, your whole thing with the commission breath.
Commission breath, man. I really need to go back into like my memory bank and remember where I heard that, because that is definitely not something that I made up myself. I know I heard it somewhere. I don't remember who I heard it from, but it's perfect. It makes sense.
No, it really does make sense. And obviously, you're going to come across agents that are not going to want to take the time to work with distressed real estate. And obviously, we work with distressed real estate all the time. You and I are working on a couple of deals right now. Mm-hmm. So what's scary about this industry is that everybody's so scared of, and I don't care what anybody says, is technology. You and I are a few years apart.
Just a couple.
Yeah. We're a couple of years apart. But I act like an 18-year-old regardless, so it doesn't really make a difference.
There you go.
That part of my brain never grew up. But when it comes to business, I don't mess around. It's hardcore. And I put people before profit. You do the whole thing with the commission breath, which is truly important. The problem that's out there is that everybody's looking for the quick buck. Nobody wants to help anybody. And I think the technology that's out there is really going to make a difference, whether, there's a, 10 plus year age gap difference between you and me. And then there might be a 10-year age gap difference between me and someone else that might be in real estate that's not really, has social etiquette, and they're not being, able to either get on, or they don't have a team member. So it's important to have, either somewhat of a team or have a surrounding around you of people that understand, I guess, what it is that you're trying to, produce or put out there as far as either content or showing people what you're doing. So, you'd mentioned Greg. Some people might not know who Greg is. Like, people say, oh, Madonna, Prince. Who's Greg in your life?
So Greg is the love of my life. He is my biggest supporter. He is my biggest cheerleader. He is the man behind he's the powerful man behind the powerful woman. And if it wasn't for him kind of pushing me to do whatever it is that I wanted, kind of guiding me at the same time and telling me, hey, I believe in you. You can do it. I don't think that I would be here. I don't think that I would be so interested, or I would be so driven in real estate, and it's really because of him. So Greg is one half of the owners of Captivate Construction. They've quickly become one of the most well-known builders in Bergen County, and I'm super, super proud of him and his twin brother Gary. And they're just really doing a lot of amazing things, and it's really cool how sometimes our businesses clash a little bit. Not clash, but we get to work together. And that's not always, that's sometimes, but I love showing off his work. He does beautiful work. And yeah, I know I'm biased, but
you complement each other.
We really do. We really do. But again, we try to keep our businesses very separate unless there's one client that we both share that, I happen to sell them a house and they want to renovate their kitchen. I know that a lot of power couples that are, female realtor and then husband or boyfriend or fiance builder, they're giving each other the business back and forth. We're not like that. We happen to be very independent. And very seldomly does it happen where I find a spectacular deal that maybe he would want to take advantage of, and I can negotiate it for him. He's licensed too. He really doesn't need me. So.
Well, it's funny that you talk about power couple, clashing, maybe complementing, or whatever it is. We looked at least 2 projects together. We asked Greg to look at them, and Greg never said like, "Oh, I'm going to get the job," which was really good. That he went in there with the aspect of looking at it for you and me, or the other project that was for you, to give like eyes on it and give like his opinion on what the cost of repairs to be. So that's obviously important to have. Since we're talking about Greg is certified as a 203K specialist.
He is a certified 203K contractor.
What does that mean?
So the last time I looked, and I would have to, just make sure that I'm still right on this because obviously information changes. I believe he is one of 6 in North Jersey. And basically what that means is that he's been vetted by the lenders that offer 203K renovation products. And they say, hey, listen, we looked into this guy. He definitely has his insurance. He's got his license. He's got all of the things that he needs to legally get your project done. And we believe that he's going to do the best work possible by the client. So the bank is basically saying, we know him, we like him, we've worked with him, he's good to go.
Okay, well, that's a good explanation.
Yeah, I mean, that's the very simple, basic explanation of that.
Well, see, the thing is that not everybody understands what a 203K loan. And I'll tell you what, since I've been doing these lives, I don't even want to say I'm shocked anymore. I'm talking with real estate agents, and real estate agents really don't know the characteristics of a short sale. They don't understand the marketing of a short sale.
And it's such a shame because I noticed the same thing, and I also noticed that these are the same agents that are short sale specialists. And
well, I wasn't going to say that, but go ahead.
I'm going to say it because I got a big mouth. They're short sale specialists, but somehow they don't know. And it's like, I mean, I can go take a course for 5 hours too and become a short sale specialist. But instead, what I'm doing is I'm bringing in real estate recovery group. I'm learning as the transaction is going forward in real time. I'm being taught, the different scenarios of things. I'm absorbing a lot of the knowledge from your team. I'm also going to your boot camp.
I know. Well, you're the host of
Besides that, though,
you're the master of ceremonies, but yes. But that's hold on, I'm going to interrupt because that's a really good point. Since I've been doing the 12 o'clock, people are asking about the boot camp, and I wasn't even going to talk about the boot camp really, but they're like, hey, can we get, CT credits? And I guess you get credit for classes that they take. Right now, that's not a priority of mine to make sure that you guys get CT credits. My priority is to make sure that there's a correct information out there for a real estate agent, that the information is always updated. So if you're a real estate agent and you're looking to get a CT credit, and that's really all you're looking for, and you're not learning to gain the knowledge and the information and understanding on how a short sale works correctly and understanding work regulations and guidelines, then don't even waste your time. Definitely don't waste your money because you're not going to utilize it.
Exactly. That's why I like going to your events because, okay, yes, I'm hosting. Yes, I'm the master of ceremonies, but in between, in the interim, I'm sitting down, I'm listening to your speakers. I'm listening to people delivering the value. I'm taking notes. I'm learning. It's a big deal. I also like the breakout sessions. I like the private education type of pop-up things that you have going on, where it's an intensive 8-day or 7-hour, 8-hour course. I love that. It's great. Why are more people not taking advantage of this? Especially with what's going on now with this pandemic. Guys, what the do you think is going to happen?
So what's funny that you mentioned that? I think last week we had 47 or 57 people join our short sale one-on-one group in 1 week.
I wonder why. Clicking?
Right. Okay. Which is okay. There's a lot of real estate agents out there, and I've often talked about the one agent that I met in an attorney's office, and he had stated that yeah, sure, he wants to talk to me. And then I had my assistant set up an appointment. Then we actually spoke. And he
Mhm.
was more annoyed that I actually kept the appointment. He was almost like, oh, I didn't think you were going to keep the appointment. I'm like, well, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. It's called integrity and it's called follow
Right.
up. But anyway, so we actually spoke and he was all about self gratification, which blew my mind. And I'm like, dude, short sales don't have to take as long as they do. There's a protocol that has to be followed. There's two different types of short sale, retail and investor. And I don't care what anybody says.
There's a difference.
Well, you of all people know that now.
Yes, there's
And,
a difference.
and this dude was like, no, I don't even care about the referral basis of it. I'm like, he could have made probably upwards of $45,000-$50,000 probably in referrals. He would have made over $250,000 if he brought those short sales to me. Now, when I say that, you're like, yeah, but how do you know you want to get it done? Well, these people actually reached out to him and said, hey, can you help me? And he totally blew it off. Like, no, I don't get involved in distressed real estate.
What a shame.
Nobody to refer to, has nothing to do with it. He's all about self gratification.
What a shame.
That's an agent that's going to get burnt out. That is an agent that's not going to go the long haul. And incidentally, here's another one. He's not interested in social media. He's not on social media. He has no social media presence. He has nothing to do with technology. He's like, everything, comes to me word of mouth. Okay, but I'm like, what about buyers? What about people that see your listings maybe online and be like, oh wow, I loved what he did with that property. I'm interested. Let me reach out to him. Maybe he can list my house. His answer kept saying self-gratification. I was like, all right, we're good.
Listen, at a certain point in time, yeah, toot your own horn, pat yourself in the back, brush your shoulders off, all that great shit. If you're not doing things that are feel good, if you're not doing things where you're not making a single cent, but you help someone through a terrible time in your life, then everything that you did, every penny that you made counts for nothing. I'm sorry.
No, I agree.
Because all you can sit there and do is brag about how many deals you've closed, how much money you've made, and everything else, but you don't have one single story to tell me, like, hey, you know what? This person was in a really tough spot. I put together, a little fundraiser because I needed to help them get through a hump, or I raised some money to get them, I don't know, groceries, whatever. You don't have at least one of those stories. I have no respect for you, man. That means your commission breath is kicking. I'm sorry. It's stinky. Stop.
So let's talk about being a realtor, really. And what does it mean to be a real estate agent to you? And especially, let's talk about now. Let's talk about 2020. What does it mean to be a realtor in 2020?
So I think that there's definitely a shift that has occurred due to this pandemic that's going on. And it used to be, my phone would ring and it would be, hey, I want to sell my house. Hey, I want to buy a house. Hey, I need a rental. Hey, I'm moving out of my rental. I want to buy a house, whatever. And I think now it's more so I'm getting a lot of phone calls asking me, hey, Jen, what's going to happen with my mortgage? I just got furloughed. What are my options? I also get a lot of phone calls from people that are tenants, they're renting. Hey, Jen, I'm kind of scared. I might be losing my job. What's going to happen with rent for me? As of recently, I just started getting phone calls from people in New York City, Manhattan. They want to leave. They want to come by New Jersey. Why the heck they want to do that? I don't know.
I want to ask you a question. How did those people from New York find you?
So I think it's because I have a large referral database. I talk with a lot of agents in the tri-state area. And I think some of them reached out to their local agent who happens to be my counterpart in their market, and they were referred to me. I think the other part of it is I'm on social media. I'm friending everyone. I am putting myself out there. I mean, I go to the grocery store and I hear someone go rent, and I'm literally shoving my shopping cart around the aisle to be like, wait, you're renting? Do you need a realtor? Wait, you want to buy a house? I'm a realtor. Like, I tell everyone I'm a realtor. So I'm out there. I put myself out there like that.
Well, you see, the thing is, you're very social. You're very outgoing.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
So social media, obviously, So when you're social and you're using social media, being social and social media, ooh, I like that. Being social plus using social media equals success.
Yeah.
Throw that bad boy on a t-shirt. So yeah, you do have a big mouth, but it's okay because it's good being used for good, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, any which way that I can get myself out there. I've joked around with a lot of people before, and I've said, listen, there's 3 types of people that will always remind you of who they are, what they do. The first one is a realtor. The second one is someone who's vegan. And the third one is someone who does CrossFit. No, I am not trying to offend anyone whatsoever at all. I'm just saying, think about it, guys. When you meet someone that does CrossFit, they're going to tell you, I do CrossFit. When you meet someone who happens to be vegan, they're going to tell you, I'm vegan. When you meet someone that's a realtor, they're going to tell you, I'm a realtor. No offense there at all. It's just the truth. You become what you enjoy.
You're right.
Throw that on a t-shirt.
You enjoy, what is that? You enjoy what? Will you grow?
You become what you enjoy.
Oh,
Oh,
there's no need to throw on a sexy voice like that.
I can't.
So obviously, being a real estate agent, 2020 right now is hard. Everybody was like, and because obviously, 3 years we know each other. We've been, working together as friends. We know each other's families, whatever. Your mom is totally kick ass. And then, from the business side of things, you knew because Lee and I have been talking about it since 2020, 2021. There's going to be an adjustment in the market, but because it's happening, it's going to be more than an adjustment. So, we're dealing with the shadow inventory that's out there that wasn't foreclosed on. Then you're dealing with the loan modifications that happened during 2013, 2014 that basically failed. And now they were getting ready to hit the market, And then you have like the COVID-19 thing. So it's a little bit between the failing mod and the shadow and everything else. It's really making it like a trifecta that's going to affect us. Nobody knew that was going to happen.
Right.
3 months ago or 2 months ago, everything was humming along. But let's talk about one thing that hasn't changed. Properties are still selling. People are still getting mortgages, and people are so goddamn panicked about people not being able to buy houses. But that's only one part of what's going on. What's your input on that?
So I think that what's going on is we have a lack of inventory on the market. We definitely do. I mean, if you're a realtor, please go out there and check me out. Check out my info. Log on to your local MLS and pull reports from this time last year and compare them to now. You're definitely going to see changes. You're going to see that we have way less inventory on the market as far as things that are active listings, things that are under contract, and things that have been sold. With that said, I think that is what's kind of stabilizing the market values. So that's why we're not kind of, market values are not going.
Well, what about the fact that houses that are occupied and the houses that are not occupied, like contractors right now must be going ballistic. Investors who have houses that are renovating must be going ballistic.
So I've actually seen the opposite. So
really,
we have buyers that they want to buy and they're ready to buy, but we've also lost a big chunk of them because the lending guidelines have changed a little bit, which is fine. Now we have less inventory on the market, but it's kind of stabilizing the market value, so we're okay. As far as contractors go, they're kind of having a tough time because if you don't have any projects that you're currently working on before Executive Order 122 got signed by Phil Murphy, you can't start any new projects. So you're doing nothing. Correct. So you're doing nothing. So the only contractors that are actually out doing work right now are contractors that are still in the middle of projects. They had something ongoing before Executive Order number 122 was signed.
Interesting. See, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
So the only time you're allowed to start something new is if it was an emergency basis. So we had a huge rainstorm, last week. someone's roof begins to leak. That would be an emergency situation where, the roofer can go out, they can make the repair, they can put on a new roof. But you can't just start gut renoing or throwing up an addition on a new house next week.
And why is that?
Because of the executive order.
Because of social distancing?
It's because of the pandemic that's going on, and Governor Murphy in New Jersey said, hey, this is not really essential. No one needs to have, work done to get a new kitchen right now. Let's practice some strict social distancing guidelines. So your new kitchen can wait. Your new addition can wait. Your deck can wait. Your pool can wait. I agree. But at the same time, here you have contractors that they didn't feed their pipeline. They didn't start more than 3 or 4 projects at the same time. They couldn't. Whatever. So now they've finished their projects because this executive order was signed about a month ago. So they've finished their projects. They have nothing going on. And a lot of them are just kind of sitting around. They're either doing it, very quietly, not pulling permits. Yikes. Mm-hmm. Or they're not doing anything. They're not working. So it's tough. I mean, the flippers are probably in the same type of conundrum. But are there really good deals out there for investors, for flippers? Yeah. Go look for them. Go get them.
When do you think that law is going to be abolished, amended?
So here's the thing. An executive order is not a law. It's a very strong suggestion, right? Mm-hmm. There is no end date. There is no, hey, it's going to be for 30 days or this is going to be imposed for, 15 days. We don't know. As of right now, it's indefinite.
Okay.
And is very scary. When do I think it's going to ease up a little bit? I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. Maybe around the same time that small businesses start opening, I would assume. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of scary times. But as far as real estate goes for deals and everything else, guys, they're out there. People are still buying. Sellers still want to sell and buyers still want to buy. Come on.
All right. Well, I appreciate your input on real estate. And let's talk about being a mom, because you are a mom.
I am.
And so your son is not in school.
Yeah.
And I know he has a love of sports.
This is the part where maybe the alcohol should go in this cup now, because he's not in school.
Right, because he's not in school. And I'm sure there's a lot of mom popping bottles right now. Corks are flying everywhere.
100%. Liquor stores are doing fantastic.
100%. Apparently, that's a necessity, which I think
100% is.
Which I think is hysterical.
Listen, it 100% is, and I can get medical about it, and I can get personal about it.
Well, we can talk about mental health when we get to that point. But anyway, yes. Exactly. That helps with the mental health. That's allegedly. I'm not a doctor. But as far as being a mom right now, what happens if, the world opens up again? There are some people that have the train of thought that, okay, cool. So the world's opening up again. My kid can go to school. Then there's the other part where parents are like, absolutely not. My child will stay home. You can open up your school district, but I'll homeschool them. So obviously, what is your opinion on that?
So, of course, like I mentioned earlier, I come from a medical background.
Right.
And my position was a very small slice of infection control, very small slice in the pie of infection control. Mm-hmm. And from my own knowledge of COVID-19, if a government official is telling me that it's safe to open schools back up and that kids can go, first of all, I hope that decision was done based on a lot of data. Second of all, I'd love to see that data and review it. And Third of all, no, I don't think that I'm going to feel safe, because now we have this type of inflammatory infection going on now in children that's brand new. It just started coming out, a few days ago on the news.
Right.
So I wouldn't be sending my child back. I would be, continuing to do the homeschooling, and I would be continuing to give my business to the liquor store.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second. You seem pretty game to be throwing that out there. You have ownership in a liquor store? I don't know about.
I might. Listen. Shh.
I got you. You got to put the money. You got to put it to work. Got to be selling some of that Corona. Corona stock must be cheap as shit right now.
I have no idea. You know what? I've been keeping an eye on some stocks. So I'm like buying. I'm trying to diversify, different streams of income, the whole lines. I gotta look into Corona stock because I know a bunch of idiots in the beginning were like, "Oh my god, you can get coronavirus from Corona beer."
Well, not that it's the same topic, and you know me. Sometimes I like to veer off a little bit.
Yeah.
Got that ADD. So, in Canada, a lot of strip clubs
I can't.
and bars shut down. That's a serious topic. One guy actually ended up doing almost like a drive-through car wash style, but having women entertainers, and guys would run through it. And apparently, he's being successful.
I can't. I cannot.
Another guy was completely off the chain, and he started Boober Eats. So women with, I guess, bosoms. Can I say bosoms? Yeah, boobs. Are delivering food. So it's kind of, it's like Uber Eats, but it's Boober. So, hey, you know what? Kudos for people that are being creative right now. I'd love to see that shit being pitched on Shark Tank.
Hey, listen, you got to do what you got to do nowadays to make a buck. As long as you're not hurting anyone and maybe you happen to help someone along the way, that's cool, man.
100%. Listen, people, sometimes they don't get me. Some people, the majority of people are black and white. There's no gray area. If you have a gray area sense of humor, if you know people like that, tell them to tune in to 12 because, I like to joke around. Now, the night show that I have on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we dive real deep, and that's a little bit for a mature audience because I do get a little bit loud and rowdy and stuff like that. But the 12 o'clock show like this is to entertain, it's to educate, it's to keep people on the right track. And people have actually reached out to me and say, hey, man, you know what? Love your show. You're entertaining. You're a funny guy. Like, I posted that thing, my thumbnail, and on the side of it, that's me with my T-shirt, my dress shirt on with a towel. And I'm saying, pants are optional because, chances are nobody's going to see below your shoulders anyway. So why are you wearing pants?
I love it.
So, being a mom right now for you, obviously, there's a couple of roadblocks. I know Josh could be hyper sometimes. He's pretty funny. He sent me some of the videos. I know he sent it to Micheline and me the other night, which is pretty entertaining, which is good.
Josh dancing.
But he's a really smart kid.
He is too smart. He's too smart. I mean, listen, he's got 3 entrepreneurial parents around, right? Yeah. He's got Greg, who's a stepdad. Yeah. He's got May, and then he's got his dad, who is he owns his own towing business, his own towing company. So the kid knows nothing at this point but hustle and grit and in your own way.
100%. And I'm sorry to say, but I would say up until recently, I really felt like the education system was failing children. I mean,
yes,
not understanding how to write a check at an early age, or kids that are 17, 18 years old, they're like, I Venmo,
It's not just that. I think it goes deeper than that. I think that the education system is lacking a very entrepreneurial type of lesson. I think that the education system forces kids to want to work for somebody, and it doesn't teach them that they need to go out on their own if they want to. If they want to be a business owner, if they want to go out on their own and be the employer instead of the employee, they can do it.
That's the problem. That's the problem. The education system is geared up that you go to school, you get an education, you get a diploma, you get a job. Your career is to work for someone else.
And this is why I have Josh involved in a lot of different things. Josh loves football. Josh loves wrestling. So what do? We get Josh involved in a wrestling club. He loves it. And what does this teach him? Yeah, aside from, learning a couple wrestling moves, throwing the half and all this stuff, it's also teaching him subconsciously, I believe, hey, look at the owner of your wrestling club, which, by the way, Cordoba trained, what's up? Teaching him, hey, the owner of your wrestling club, he's a business owner. You can be like him. Maybe if you love wrestling that much and you're that good at it, look to him. He can be a role model for you if you want to get into that type of business. And I think that's what the education system is lacking.
It's funny you said it. So, Dan Zatowski, obviously, one of my best friends. He's from you. Obviously, you guys are friendly. You guys are friends.
Love him.
And he talks about financial literacy
Mm-hmm.
and the importance of financial literacy, and he's right.
Yeah.
So he actually has a book out there that he put out there for people, and there's a lot of great information in it. And he talks about showing people how to raise private funds. It doesn't only necessarily have to be for real estate. It could be for anything as far as a business. And I would love to see something like that as a class in school, something, in regular high school. It does not necessarily have to be in college.
It would be great if you can start teaching kids about having good credit, establishing credit, maintaining good credit, and then teaching them how to do what Dan does with, raising private money and investing. That would be amazing, because seriously, can anyone raise their hands and tell me who uses Pythagorean theorem on their daily life now? No one. No one's using Pythagorean theorem, but we're all kind of doing some type of little investing, whether in a micro level or on a larger scale. Some of us are saying, okay, I'm going to buy this car. This is going to be my investment, depreciating asset, whatever. But still, and then other people are going, you know what? I'm going to buy this 3-family. I think this is going to be a great investment. Why are we not teaching children that from a young age and instilling that type of education in them and confidence in them, that if that's what they wanted to do, here we have someone reaching their hand out to you to teach you and guide you.
When I see somebody drop $100,000 cash on a vehicle,
don't you want to punch them?
What's that?
Don't you want to punch them? Like, what are you doing?
The thing is that they haven't been properly educated. We get to take that money, and they can make that money, make them more money, put the money to work. So if your goal is to get a sexy, sick car, and it's going to cost $100,000, take that money, go invest it in real estate. You can use the write-offs in that. You can use it as a write-off. You can take all the tax benefits from it. Again, I'm not a financial planner. I'm not a CPA.
My favorite thing that Dan Zatofsky teaches is that you can employ your children.
Yeah, 100%.
You employ your children, and you can pay them, and it would be like a savings account for them.
Yeah, I don't know the exact dollar amount, but I think it's like up to $6,000 or $6,200 or something like that a year.
Regardless, that's better than zero.
No, listen, it's a no-brainer. If you got 2 children, right, and you have to send back to the government, let's just say if you're an entrepreneur, you got to mail back $12,000 to the government. Why not take that money and pay it to your child weekly for them contributing and being involved in the business?
Piece of advice, and I keep telling people, besides listening to you speak, Matt, because you are a wealth of knowledge when it comes to short sales, I keep directing people to Dan Zatofsky. If you have a business, if you are a business owner and you are not, there you go, and you are not paying your children, you are not having your children as employees for your business, you are missing out. First of all, you're missing on an opportunity to teach them about money. You're missing on an opportunity to teach them about investing. And you're not taking this guy's making a mess. You're not taking as many deductions, and you're not getting rid of enough tax liability for yourself. This is a win-win all around. It really is.
Remember, guys, we are not accountants. We're not CPAs, so this is alleged stuff. We're just saying this is what we're hearing.
Guys, talk to Dan Zatofsky, please.
Yeah, we're regurgitating. And he's not a financial advisor either. He's just a really super smart guy.
He's just really freaking awesome. He's a great guy. And I enjoy his family. His wife, Dawn, is amazing. His kids are great. I love them.
Absolutely, 100%. So, being a mom, obviously, right now is a scary time. And I appreciate your input. So far we've covered, being a real estate agent, 2020, being a mom,
Yep.
Let's talk about mental health, because right now mental health is like crazy. People are almost like never before were people, I'm going to say, almost bipolar, but now they're so, I think, like emotionally, actually, I'm going to say emotionally, mentally, and physically drained because they just don't know where to turn, how to cope with stuff like that. What is your input on that?
I just, I can talk about this topic a lot, and I can go on and on and on about it forever. Here's the thing. I think a lot of us are having a tough time dealing with it because we're used to being somewhere at a certain time every day, and now we're not, and we're home. And at first it was really cool, and it was like, yay, I get to spend time with the kids at home, I get to bake and make memories. And now we're on month number 2, we're on week 8, we're on week 9, and now it's getting very boring and redundant, and we miss our past lives of waking up at a certain time and commuting to work, or that old life, that old routine that we used to have. And now we've developed a new routine, and it doesn't feel right, and we're still not able to go to a grocery store without a mask on, and things are still closed, and is the park open, is the park closed? It's a disaster. I know that I started having a lot of anxiety because I'm used to going out and meeting with my clients and showing homes and having lunch meetings on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Thursday, and meeting up with my girlfriends and having dinner, having a drink, and we're not able to do that anymore. And it's difficult. It was really difficult for me, being a really big people person. And I feel that it's also difficult for people who need someone to reach out to them, and they can't have someone reach out to them because of social distancing. So I think that we're all suffering. I think that it's wrong to continue saying that we're all in this together when we have celebrities, talking to us, spewing this from their mansion, saying, oh yeah, I'm suffering too. Bitch, no, you're not. You're in your kitchen. You're eating lobster tails. You have a pool out back. You have a 17,000 square foot house. So it's just difficult. And I think that we just need to accept a little bit. And I think that we need to adapt. And I think that we need to overcome. I think that we just need to change our perspective and the way that we do things. And we have to do things a different way. And whatever it takes for you to be in a better place mentally, do that. If that means standing on your head for a while in the middle of your front lawn, go for it. That means sitting on a Facebook Live with Matt Marinoff with no pants on, go for it. Whatever it takes. But it's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be upset and freak out on people and be a little see you next Tuesday. That's totally fine. Do whatever it is that you need to do. Or be like my dog and flip out.
So I put your phone number up here. I put your hashtags up here. I close deals and heels. And the other one is Just Call Jen.
Yes.
Now, they could call you direct. That's your cell phone. They could call or text you. Your phone number is 201-470-9451, 201-470-9451.
Yes.
So, look, obviously, if they're in some type of crisis mode, or if they're a real estate agent, or maybe they need a kick in the tush or whatever, I know you're very motivational, and I know you do care about other people. One thing you actually mentioned to me off camera, and I'm going to say it on camera, which you didn't cover, is that you miss the touch. You miss human interaction. You miss hugging your friend.
I never realized that human interaction is so important. It's one thing to hug your spouse every day and hug your children every day. But when you can't hug your friends and you can't hug the other people in the world that you care about that aren't, particularly related to you, that's when things become really tough. So I really can't wait to see my friends and hug them for a really long time.
That's cute.
I do. I miss that.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you're being real. You keep saying your friends. You haven't mentioned me, but that's all right.
Yeah. I can't wait to give you a big teddy bear hug.
Not interested.
Whatever.
Too late. But so, it's important what you're talking about, which is the mental health. And I think that most people are so scared to even admit the fact that, they're scared, they're nervous. Listen, you and I know a lot of the same people. And I'm going to tell you, half those people we know, at least, are suffering from the very same thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
Look, I work from home regardless every single day. I'm in traffic.
Me too, but we go out, we venture out, we do things. We're not stuck in our homes.
Well, the last time I actually went to go out and look at a property was a property that you and I were involved in, which I don't even know how it was months ago. So I don't have to venture out that too much unless I'm actually meeting with a client, which doesn't really happen that often because I do everything virtually. My business is basically 95% virtual, if not more than that. So I'm very fortunate that we didn't skip a beat. But for people that, they're not on social media, they don't understand, social media interaction aspect of it. You're seeing a lot more people now jumping on and building their own branding and shows, and they're using the StreamYards and the Zoom calls and stuff like that. And they're starting to realize that that's another form of human interaction with other people.
Funny that you bring that up, because I found that since I was home and I was doing, everything in redundance, I was cooking, I was cleaning, I was doing laundry, I was doing the homeschooling, I didn't feel like I was being productive. I didn't feel like I was a productive member of society. I felt like I was super productive in my house.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't feel like I was doing anything. So I feel that what really helped is professional and personal development. Go out and grab a new hobby. Go out as a realtor. Listen, they're offering, NAR is offering some designations for free. Go do it. Go get a designation. Throw a couple initials after your name, realtors. You always wanted to learn a new language. Babbel has some great offers going on right now. Go learn a new language. My point is, do something that is different, something that you've always wanted to do. You will never have this opportunity ever again, hopefully. So just take advantage of it right now. Do something.
Right now I'm working on, obviously, we're working on developing an online class for the fear of maybe we can't do a live boot camp.
Boob camp?
You know what? Boobs are on my mind. You know what I'm
saying? You almost said it. That's why I'm pointing it out.
Hey, you know what? Thanks for calling me out live on social media. Listen, at the end of the day, it's about, first of all, it's about laughing. It's about having a good time. I'm the first person, I go, what? Oh, Micheline is texting me. She's playing around with me now. Because I said boob.
Saying?
I said boob. She goes, you got shit on your nose now. Boobs. I don't care. Listen, anybody that knows me, I don't really care. I'll say what's on my mind. And if I'm offending people, that's their fault. That's their issue. That's not mine. But, so we are working on an online class because what if we can't do the boot camp live, which is okay. Looking into different technology, which is actually really cool. It's amazing stuff. Learning more about social media, where I never really understood. So I was on it, but I didn't understand really how it works. And if you've noticed, a lot of my graphics have changed as far as my marketing and stuff like that. I'm actually doing that myself because, I want to learn other aspects of this business other than what I'm doing right now, because
I love it. I love it. I noticed you started doing this a few weeks ago. Remember, I was like, Maddie, you're fancy.
Yeah. Well, listen.
So there you go. You're learning something new.
Yeah.
And you didn't have time to do that before, but now you have time, so you're taking advantage.
Well, I don't even know if I have time or not, because sometimes my day will start at 7 o'clock in the morning and it won't end until 12 a.m. the next day.
That's a lot.
Which is okay, but I don't mind doing it because, I need to keep busy. I need to keep creative.
Sure.
And some days I don't write. I'm trying to finish my book and forget. I mean, I've had mental, roadblocks with that because of what's been going on and focusing on the business side. So, I write a lot of notes down and stuff like that. And that helps me, put more information together, more content, and how we're going to, tweak things for the next boot camp that we're going to be doing, because education is so important. COVID-19 is going to be a big part of it.
Yep.
One thing I could say on the COVID-19 front is that when people aren't communicating with their banks, they really need to communicate, even for the aspect of, hey, look, I can't pay my mortgage right now, because of COVID-19. What's that?
They have to start educating themselves and asking questions. Absolutely.
Well, besides asking questions, they need to communicate with their banks, and they're not doing it. And
Mhm.
talking with some of the bank reps, they're saying, look, if people don't call in and tell us that they're being affected by COVID-19, we're not reporting to the credit bureau that they're not, it's
Right.
COVID-19.
I heard that you have to actually tell them, like, hey, I'm being affected by COVID-19, because if you just call them and tell them, hey, I can't pay my mortgage, they're going to be like, oh shit, sucks for you.
Yeah, you have to tell them specifically what the issue is. And, they're going to put you into a forbearance. The
Right.
forbearances are not deferments. The forbearances are to basically push stuff off. So whereas if you have a regular payment, like, you're looking at payments right here, and it talks about, the first through the fourth payment, and it's going down, and it's talking about the dates. And it's talking about the dollar amount. But, that's not after not paying it for a couple of months. So you need to pay. And during, here's the thing, during the forbearance, you can make a partial payment. You can use it as a tool, but not asking for the forbearance and trying to make a partial payment, they won't accept it. And because you don't talk about it, they don't necessarily offer it.
Right.
And by the third month, guess what happens? Put yourself in a foreclosure.
Uh-oh.
So just be careful when you're making these phone calls to the banks, because they're not going to call you.
No.
So you need to contact them. You need to communicate with them. So if you're in a situation like that and you're worried about going late, try to figure something out. If you can make your mortgage payment, make your payment.
Absolutely.
Because if you can't make your payment and then you get slapped, let's say at month 4, where the payment's going to be, let's say, $10,000, and then for whatever reason at that point, you decide, okay, well, I can't make the $10,000 payment, but I can make a partial payment. It sounds like the banks are willing to work with people, but I got news for you. If your payment is $3,000 a month and their version of working with you is now you got to pay $4,100 a month until you pay off.
With you.
I don't know if that's really working with you or not. I think it's might put you in a tougher spot. So if you have the money to pay the mortgage, pay it. The country's going to open up again. Jen, do we have an idea when it's going to be opening up?
Listen, every different state has different numbers, has different positive numbers, have different recovery rates. So I think what might be okay for Michigan is going to be different for New York, obviously. So who knows? I mean, this has never happened before. I have no idea of anything. I don't think anyone really does. I think everyone's just kind of winging it.
Right. Well, the other thing is that people need to understand is that because we are in uncharted territories, much like 2008, when they started throwing these different Band-Aid modification programs into play, thinking, oh, we're going to be able, we're going to take care of this. And they had, this bill in place for like 2 years. Wow, before you know it, that bill went into place 2007. In 2017, 10 years later, at that point, 10 years, they actually removed it, which was the George Bush Act that they put in place. So people can Google the George Bush bill from 2007 or 2007 bill, and they can look at it. Now, are there similar characteristics now where people can work off of that and they can save themselves some heartache? Yes. What's a goal? What should be a goal for them? They should contact their bank, obviously, and they should make sure they have a good CPA or some type of public accountant that's going to talk to them about the tax ramifications based on their tax bracket. So there's a lot of information that people.
I feel like people are not realizing that there's a tax implication regarding that type of decision.
Right. And again, that's also, different state by state, obviously different too. But people need to look into their options, and that's the problem. People are not looking into their options.
Correct.
So I feel like the 12 o'clock show is good. And, I have some loyal listeners, so they might be hearing the same stuff over and over again.
Okay.
Or a montage of, the different things that I talk about. and different verbiage, but it's all the same stuff. But people are giving different opinions. That's why I wanted to have Jennifer Romero on, because I wanted to have her come on and talk about her spin about, what's real estate? What's it like being a mom right now in 2020? Social distance.
Wild.
Yeah, exactly. Social distancing, and being able to, mentally get through what we're going through right now. So, Jen, do you have anything to add before we come off the air?
Guys, just, mental health awareness is very, very real. If you're feeling like you need to reach out to somebody, please do. I'm always available. Either we'll cry together or we'll laugh together or whatever you need. But I think that is the most important thing that we need to keep in mind is we all need a little pick me up. We all need a little help. We all need, a little sunshine in our lives during such difficult times.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing that I wanted to add is everything that Matt just said about mortgages and forbearances and deferments and all this stuff. If you guys need an explanation, if you need help, if whatever it is, call Matt, call his team, call me, call somebody that knows what they're talking about. Because second to mental health, having a roof over your head is also very important. Everything after that really is just extra, and it's about being grateful for that, and that's it.
Jen, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Obviously, I have a soft spot for you. We're very good friends.
We are.
Some people might or may not know that. I think of you and your family like family. I love your mom to death.
Oh, my mom loves you. She always asks about you.
I know, the Hebrew Hammer. I got you.
She loves you.
Yeah. When we did, guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but we actually did an event in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
And Jen, she came down and she was the master of ceremonies in Florida. Her mom drove, 2 hours?
Like 2.5 hours, yeah.
2.5 hours, and she hung out with us for the whole week. That was an experience. There was a lot of education, but there's also a lot of laughter and a lot of alcohol.
A lot. It was fun.
It was definitely fun.
We gotta do some more events like that across the country, when we're not having a pandemic.
Well, we'll see about that. I might do some smaller events, and I might just keep the bigger events in Jersey.
I like that.
Yeah, but it was an experience. It was something I wanted to do. Everything that I've done so far in my life, people have always either put it down, or they would say to me, like, you can't do that, or, you don't have the education.
Everyone's always got something terrible to say.
You know what? If you got a set of balls, whether you're a guy or a girl, and you can make stuff happen, just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. So just get it done. So Jen,
no balls. Exactly.
No balls.
No balls.
So at the end of every single show that we do, I ask people if you can emulate, my finger point. So I'd love to see if Jen can do the finger point.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I don't hear you, bro.
Go ahead.
I did it. You want me to do it again?
I didn't see it. Do it again.
Come on.
Yeah, do it again. Nice. Love it. Guys, remember, it's not a no until you get a restraining order.
True.
I'm Matt Marinoff with Real Estate Recovery Group. Jennifer Romero over here. I close deals and heels. #. Till next time. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon.
Guys, take care.
Bye-bye.